Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Adrian Ramirez. I'm with the Money Management Center at Fresno State, and thank you so much for being here today. I wanted to thank you for Golden One Credit Union for presenting today the topic of college scams that students should be aware of. And we have a great speaker today who's very engaging, who will give you a really good information and will answer questions as we go along. And so I'll let her introduce herself. Carla Contreras, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Adrian, for the introduction. I appreciate it. I'm really excited, everyone, to be here. I hope you guys are ready to learn some really fun stuff. Thank you again for joining us in the middle of your lunch hour. I'm going to go over who I am, but I just want to go over what we're going to learn today. So today we're going to go over 7 scams that you should be aware of. And these scams are going to be all kinds of different types of scams. I'm sure you guys have some experience in these and you might have some questions. So we'll get started here. Your presenter is me today. My name is Carla Contreras. I am a community and financial education specialist for Golden One Credit Union. And a little bit about me, I am a recent college graduate of class of 2020. I was a Bulldog for a year and switched to a Sunbird at Pacific, but Fresno State still has a special place in my heart. You guys might have seen me around campus handing out scholarship flyers and whatnot. So I'm usually in the school when it was open doing a lot of networking and outreach with the students. I am also a pug mom. So a little bit about me is that's my little pug Loki. I know he wishes he could be here to talk to all of you guys and present today, but you might not understand what he has to say. So that's him right there. And then that was my drive-by graduation this year because it was a little bit different. As in finance, I've been in the finance industry for almost 7 years. I started as a teller, then I was a personal banker, and now I teach financial literacy. And financial literacy is very important to me for a couple of reasons. First reason is I'm first generation born here, first generation college student, first in my family to go and graduate to school. So all of this information on finance, I kind of learned the hard way, making those mistakes and tripping, and now having to fix all of these things in my 30s. This is just information I wish I had when I was younger. So I'm really passionate about sharing that and answering any questions that may come up and you may have. Throughout the webcast, you're more than welcome to type in any questions in the Q&A, and we'll pause to answer those questions as they are presented. So feel free to ask any questions. If it's a sensitive question in nature you might not want to share, you can send it to me, Adrian or Damien personally. I will share my email as well in the chat at the end, so you guys can always email me with any other finance questions. So again, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. So let's go ahead and, okay, so this is going to be a quick little overview of the different types of scams that we're going to go over today. So there is not just 7, there's a lot. And we're just going to cover over probably the ones that you see the most. So if you guys out there have experience in this, I'd love to hear. I'm sure throughout this webcast, you're going to have a lot of examples of you kind of having those instances where you come across these scams. So we'll go ahead and get started. Before we get started though, I wanted to shout out if there's any social work majors out there, let me know, because that was my major. I forgot to share it with you guys. So bonus points if you're a social work major. So the 7 scams today we're going to talk about is the phishing scam, and it is spelled like this for a purpose. Shopping scam. We all like to shop, but we got to be careful. The wealthy foreign family scam. Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, dating and romance, and you'll see where that plays a part. I'm not gonna, talk about eHarmony or anything like that, but there's a role in this. Mystery shopper or work from home scam, and fake antivirus software scam. So these, working in finance for so long, are the top types of scams that we normally encounter. And as social media and our internet usage has increased, so have these scams. So these are things to really be careful and look out for. So let's dive right in. I'm sure you guys have seen this. So has anyone out there received any of those annoying phone calls or those weird emails or even a text message now? Have you guys encountered any of these? Yeah. aren't they kind of annoying? I feel like, how do they get my number? These text messages now, I didn't even know they could text. Yeah, so we've all encountered them, right? So these are the fake emails, the texts, the calls, now on social media. I've been getting them on social media now all the time. You know, I don't use a lot of social media, but what I do have now, I'm getting them on there. And so pretty much what it is this company is phishing. They're out there throwing a lure, they're phishing for information. So yes, it is just a ton of different scams. Veronica mentioned a great point, how she gets loan scams and she's never taken out a loan. That is true. They will go ahead and call you, email you, tell you all kinds of things. You owe the IRS, you owe us money, you owe us loans. So how does this one work? They're just looking for information. They are phishing. They're going to send these emails. They're going to post like real companies. They're going to make everything look as real as possible so that you divulge the information willingly. And a lot of times these can be very scary and intimidating emails or even phone calls. Have you guys received that really creepy phone call from a guy who says you owe money to the IRS? Also, Harold, social work major, woo woo, thank you. Yes, right, those are very scary calls. So this is one of those scams that is been prevalent and around for a very long time. Before we had cell phones, they used to call your house phone. Do you guys remember house phones? I'm a little old, so house phones were the thing where when you had to call a friend, we didn't have phones, we had to call, and their parents would answer, and it was really embarrassing. Yeah, house phones. They used to call house phones, now they call cell phones, now they email you. So with these types of scams, it's very important to not give out any information. If you ever have that gut feeling, if you're like, I didn't get a loan, like Veronica mentioned, hang up, delete the email, don't click on anything. If you are ever curious because maybe they said they're calling from your bank, hang up the phone. Tell them you're going to call them to the number directly that is to the institution. So just be very careful with emails, texts, and calls. They can sound very intimidating, but let me tell you, if you owe money to the IRS, they ain't going to be calling. They're going to send you a letter in the mail. So number 2, shopping. I can't be the only one that likes shopping here, guys. Right? But with shopping and with online shopping increasing, we have to be very careful. So has anyone out there seen those Facebook or Instagram posts selling very expensive things really cheap? And you're like, no, how am I going to get this Michael Kors purse for $20? Because those are the types, yeah, right? You guys have encountered those as well. So in these types of scams, sellers or potential sellers will pose as real companies. They'll create a web page. They'll create ads on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere they can create ads, right? And the lure in this is they're going to promise to sell you products that are very expensive at a very cheap price. I don't know about you guys, but if they sold Bose headphones for 20 bucks, I think everybody would have Bose headphones, right? So with this, a lot of people go through with the purchase. They get charged. They get a confirmation email. But then what happens is they never receive the item. Or there's no way to communicate with the company. There's no phone number. There's no email to contact them or customer service. If you guys have bought things online, for example, at Target, you guys know that. You can call them, you can go online, and you can go into the store, right? So with this one, especially because the holidays are right around the corner, it's very important to research the company. So has anyone encountered any of these fake companies out there or want to share their experience? I have a little example myself, and I can tell you guys kind of what I did. So for this one, I was looking into making a purchase, and I found an Instagram ad, and I thought it was really neat, and so I went online to their Instagram page, but I ended up reading the comments, and in the comments, people were saying and reviewing them, this is a fake company, you don't get your items, blah, blah, blah. So this is why research is so important, especially with things that you know, stores you've never used before. Yes, Priscilla, that's a really great example. That tends to happen. I love that you took action and you went to your bank, because that is exactly what you should do. So if you do encounter this type of scam, and You know, it can happen to any one of us. Immediately, like Briseida did, go to your financial institution and request a report, a fraudulent report, and a refund, and they will work with you. Gather as much information as you can so that your financial institution can take care of that. So Briseida, I'm very sorry that that happened to you, but I'm very glad to hear that you were able to get it taken care of, because that's the way to go. So number 3, wealthy foreign family member. You might also know this as the Nigerian scam or the Nigerian prince scam. This is probably one of the first, if not oldest, scams that has existed. It's gonna date me. I know I'm getting old. I'm a very older millennial. But when email was first very prevalent and everybody was first starting to use email, and we all were in middle school, we're told to create our email. This was a big one. How it works is somebody, for example, a prince or a foreign diplomat, would email you asking for help. They're in a desperate situation. They need to move their money. They're being persecuted. If you help cover the fees to move their fortune, they're going to go ahead and give you some of that back. Well, what do you guys think? Do you guys think this sounds like, yeah, let's do it, let's help this person, or maybe sounds kind of weird? What do you guys think? Sounds kind of weird, right? Why would they call me? Why would this wealthy foreign business person call me? So it has evolved over time, and we actually have an example in the next couple slides of how it's evolved, but this one still exists. If anyone has family in a different country, you might have encountered this. I have family in Mexico, and they get calls once in a while saying that it's me and that I'm in danger and that I am in trouble or something happened and they need money. They need to send me money, and it's always best to just be very careful. Tread very carefully with emails or phone calls. Never divulge information, because we are very trusting people, right? We want to help everyone. But with this one, you want to be very careful because it has evolved throughout time, and we're going to go over that in the next couple of slides. But as always, just never give out your information. So number 4, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. This one's a little interesting because this one's fairly new. And we're not stating here that Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is a scam, because it not always is, right? It's a real type of new monetary instrument that's being used, right? But with this one, it's important to be very careful, because sometimes what can happen. Oh, Araceli, great question. I'll answer that in just a second. With Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, a lot of times it is a real company that wants you to invest, but what may happen is that your money doesn't really go anywhere. And it'd be very hard to take out the money. You might not even be able to take out the money after the initial investment, or it might be just something a little bit complicated where you're not quite too sure as to how it works. So with this one, I always recommend doing quite a bit of research, speaking to a financial expert before doing any sort of investments with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency if you're not too familiar with it. I have a great question from Araceli. What about calls from Social Security? Anyone else out there have experienced those calls from Social Security? Yes, right? I'm getting no's and yes, because sometimes it's IRS or Social Security. So that is true, Araceli. We've all, I think, experienced those calls. It's the same concept as the IRS calls. What I always tell individuals is usually people like the IRS or Social Security, they'll send you a certified letter. Or when you do your taxes or financial aid, you best believe you're going to figure out that you have something going on. So it's the same concept. They're usually fishing for information. What happens is they want to scare you and intimidate you, and they want you to either give them money by giving them your credit card or whatever it may be. And so for anything like that, what I recommend is hanging up the phone. If you do have questions and you are, wondering, is there something going on? You can do a couple of things. You can call your Social Security office yourself, go to the IRS Social Security website. And another great thing to do as well is always be on top of your credit by doing like annual credit reports that are free, or having an app that downloads and gives you examples of your credit, because that way you can see if there's any fraud going on. just to be safe as well. So again, just like that IRS call, just be very careful not to give out any information. They tend to be very intimidating as well sometimes. Good question. Thank you for that, because a lot of us have encountered that. So I promised you some dating and romance. No, I'm not going to give you tips on dating and romance. I'm not the most knowledgeable in that area, but I do want to go over some of these types of scams. So has anyone heard of catfishing? It was a new term for me until not too long ago. Yes, so I have a couple yeses. Yes. So with this one, and I think with the increase in social media as well, we have to be very careful with this pandemic and everything kind of happening around, this new changes with 2020. This can be a pretty big one, right? So let me go over kind of how it works and then just a couple of tips and tricks. And it's pretty simple. Hackers make a fake profile. They target somebody. They tend to make their profile fitting of your interest and who you are as a person. And then they work to build a relationship with you. The thing about this is that this relationship isn't usually an overnight thing, right? They work pretty hard to build that relationship, build that trust, whether it be via chats, via phone calls, via emails, right? And then it kind of starts to shift a bit. After some time, they're going to start asking you for money, or they're going to start building these elaborate scenarios where they need help and only you can help them. And I'll give you a couple of examples of some of the scenarios we've seen. So a lot of them are, I'm in the military or I'm in a different country, and in order to get home, I need some help. I need some money because my bank account might be frozen. Other scenarios are, I need a car or I need car repair. Can you send me some money for that? There is an abundance of stories and elaborate work that goes into what these people will do. And again, this isn't going to happen overnight. They take time to build that relationship with you. And so what happens is after you do send the money, the person tends to disappear. Phones are disconnected, profiles are deleted. One rule of thumb usually, and to protect you, is just be very careful again of what you share online with people, right? And remember that giving money to someone you haven't met in person is always just kind of a pretty dangerous situation, right? You want to protect yourself, and we all work really hard for what money we have, right? So be very careful in these situations. And we as humans, right, we want the connections and the friends, and we're friendly and we want to meet people, but we also have to be very careful because this does happen. And it's not one that I really like. It's one that's probably one of the sadder versions, because what happens is these people tend to get really hurt. Not only is their money gone, but then what happens is it's hurtful, right? When someone we thought was a friend does something like this. So be very careful, protect yourself. I'm very careful with my online, making my stuff private, only befriending people that I know. So little tips and tricks here. Number 6, mystery shopper or work from home. So this one's going to be a little different now because things have changed in 2020. So this kind of has evolved. A lot of us, you guys can see, I'm here at home. I'm sure most of you guys are, right? So working from home has become pretty prevalent this year. We didn't have this too much before, and so this scam might be a little bit different, but it also means that we might be more susceptible to it, right? So kind of how it works is these hackers or, spammers, whatever you want to call them, make fake job listings, whether it be through Facebook or Craigslist or Indeed. They make job listings that sound really great. Who wants to make couple $100 a day working from home, right? We all do. And so how it works, they normally tell you you're going to mystery shop, or you're going to, do reviews online or whatever it may be. And kind of how it works is they contact you, they send the email, everything looks really great, but then they ask you to pay upfront for training. So is anyone out here, do you guys currently work, or most recently, do you remember your training experience if you guys have had any jobs in the past? Oh, Jacob. So I see, Jacob, if you would like to share and elaborate, we'd love to hear. You don't have to, but I'm very sorry that did happen to you. But if you would like to share maybe a little bit, we'd love to hear. Because yes, you're absolutely right. This does happen, and these people are good. They make this look real. Sometimes you even get a check in the mail through FedEx, and they ask you to cash it, send them part of it back, and keep the rest. But then the check isn't good, and you're liable for paying that bank back the money. Usually, what happens is once you pay, the company tends to just disappear. And it's a very unfortunate situation because people are being pried on. We're in a vulnerable state right now, right? A lot of us might need work, or a lot of people might not have their jobs. And of course, we all want to get paid for work. A lot of times they'll find you through social media. Has anyone out there have received in the past or recently any job offers through any social medias? I've gotten a few. I've gotten a few through places like Indeed. I've gotten a few through Instagram. I recently got one through Snapchat and I never even use it. So these fake companies tend to look out for opportunities. So we're going to go back, right? And how can we prevent this from happening again or from happening? Oh, I am so sorry to hear that, Damien. But yes, these people infiltrate everything. They infiltrate places like Indeed, you would, right? Or like LinkedIn. You would think that they can't because these are reputable websites, but that's exactly why it's so important to do your research, right? If you get an offer or you're interested in a company, it's as simple as going to Google, typing in the name of the company, and checking out what people have to say. So example, if you want to apply for Golden One, you can go online. Oh, Golden One, there's a lot of Golden Ones. It's a company, right? So that's where us as consumers and as people, it's so important to do our research, right? And these are topics that are hard, right? None of us want to sit here and say, oh my gosh, like this is scary. Like, the world unfortunately isn't dandy. So we have to be very prepared and protect ourselves. So anytime something like that sounds good to be true, or you're questioning the legitimacy, always do your research. Number 7, fake antivirus software. This one's interesting. So have you guys had pop-ups on your computer asking or saying that all of a sudden you've been spammed by a virus and you have all of these viruses and you have to click on the link and pay for antivirus software? If you have a Mac, normally you might not see as too much. Home computers. Yes, Adrian, I see that you had, or someone that had this situation. Yes, it tends to happen a lot, usually with older generations sometimes, but it can happen to anyone. And this is a very scary one because what happens is someone actually gets into your computer, they put a pop-up and it makes it sound really real. Usually they pose as a company like Microsoft or an antivirus software company, and they lock your computer and it won't be unlocked until you type in your credit card information and you pay for the antivirus protection. So this one is very scary. What happens normally is once you pay, they do get access and install more malware onto your computer, or they start charging you monthly. So I had a situation when I was working in the branch where someone wasn't aware this happened to them, and money was coming out every month out of their account. It wasn't a huge amount to where it was noticeable, but over time it added up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And so that's why it's so important to always check your bank account records, your statements, your online banking, right? But it's also very important to not click on things that you're not too sure about. Close out of this. If you have any questions, take it to someone who's knowledgeable in computers. Normally, antivirus software, it's a one-time purchase and you install it on your computer. And so it's important to be very careful with this one. If you ever see anything fishy, a pop-up, something that you're just perhaps a little concerned about, always just click out of it and don't give out any information. So in a recap, we went over about 7 of the most known scams, the ones that are most common. Does anyone have any examples maybe that we didn't cover here today that you might have questions on? or any types of maybe scams or weird situations that you might have encountered in the past? Okay, so it seems like we might have gone over them. So in conclusion, what can we do? What can we do? We went over, the scary stuff that can happen, the worst case scenarios, but what can we do as consumers to protect ourselves? So a couple of things. First things first, do your research, just like all of our lovely college research papers. I'm sure a few of you might have some coming up with finals. Yeah. Do your research. It's very simple nowadays, right, to get information on companies, on all kinds of stuff. Number two, don't send anything to somebody you do not know. And this includes banking information. We didn't cover this on here, but a lot of times people will ask for your mobile banking to deposit a check. I've had encounters where someone's friend says, hey, I don't have a bank account. Can I deposit my check and give me half and you can keep $100 from it? Well, what happens is that check is a fake check and then that person's out the money. So a lot of times they won't ask for your credit card information. They'll ask for your online banking information. And what do you guys think should happen if someone asks you for your banking information, your online user ID and password to your bank? Should you give it to them, even if it's like a friend or a relative? Exactly. Never. I love the capitals, Damien. Never in capital letters. Never, never, ever, ever. It doesn't matter who it is, because once you give out your information willingly, you're unfortunately now responsible to pay back any money or any fraud that can happen. So even if they're not asking directly for your credit card or your checking account number, they might ask for your online banking. Never give that out. Another thing that they might do that we didn't go over here, but just to a little FYI, sometimes these scammers won't ask for money. Sometimes they'll ask for gift cards. Has anybody encountered that? Sometimes they'll ask for Google gift cards or Apple gift cards. Yes, Abigail, definitely. You're more than welcome to share a little bit if you would like, not necessary, but yes, and I'm very sorry that happened to you. And that's another way too that they kind of trick us, right? Well, what's harm in a gift card? So that's another way as well. They'll ask for services with gift cards, and once you send them the gift card, the person disappears. So it's just very important not to send anything, even if it's not your bank account or your credit card, debit card number, anything, right? No gift cards, no mobile banking information. Number three, if you do receive a phone call, I know Araceli mentioned the IRS phone call. If you do receive anything like that, definitely never give out the information. Jacob, I see your message. I will read it right now. And if you are in doubt, if this is a real phone call, hang up and call the company back yourself to the number you know. So Jacob has a really good example that I'll go ahead and share out loud. And it's a really good example, Jacob, thank you, as what we talked about, the online shopping or any type of work, right? Work from home. So I'll read it for everyone here who hasn't read it. It says, I never got scammed out of money, but there was a job listing back in when I was at Readly. It was an accounting clerk position. The wage was like $20 an hour. So as a teenager, I thought that was really good. Oh, Jacob, even as an adult, that's fantastic, right? But it definitely threw me off when they sent a check of $5,000 through FedEx. The $5,000 was supposed to be for our office supplies, so they told me to deposit, but the ATM machine was not taking it, so I asked the bank teller and they figured it out. After I told them the ATM was not taking it, the scammer just ghosted. So Jacob, there is quite a few steps here that happened that we covered, and thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it, because when we share things like this, other people learn, right? They might be encountering the same thing right now. So that is a great example for a couple of reasons. You mentioned how it was usually a listing, right? You mentioned how it was an amazing wage. It sounds amazing. Who doesn't want to make $20 an hour working from home, especially as a teenager? And then you mentioned a great part that we talked about, which was the FedEx. You received a check in the mail and they were requesting you to send back. What you did though was fantastic about going to see a teller. And I want to applaud you for this, because not everyone unfortunately goes through that steps. But what you did and going to ask the teller, thank goodness the ATM didn't work that day, is a great example of using your resources when you're just not sure about something. Us as tellers and bankers and anybody in the finance industry is trained extensively to see these checks and to see if they're fraudulent and to kind of get a feel for them. And so I'm very glad that you were able to kind of like not proceed with it and they figured it out. And you're absolutely right. Then they just disappear. Like you mentioned, they just ghosted. So maybe what could we have learned in Jacob's situation? Maybe we could have done research on the company, right? So this is a great example, Jacob. Thank you again for sharing. And then if you guys have something like this that you encountered, maybe you can type in the name of the company and see what other people are talking about, or go to Better Business Bureau. So that is a great example. Oops, excuse me, guys. Did my screen just stop sharing? Oh, I apologize. Oh, it just closed down on me. Let me go back and share my screen. Sorry about that. Oh, Zoom. Don't we just love it? Let's see here. All right, let me go back to where we were. And last but not least, in conclusion, number 4, be very careful with anything online, phone calls, emails. The holidays are right around the corner. I know I'm not trying to scare you guys, but it's already going to be November. So be very careful, because these scams tend to come up a lot more during the holidays, and a lot of people get targeted more because, you know, it's the holiday season. We're all online doing some shopping. So just be very careful with that. So I want to go ahead now and forward you guys to this great resource for you. If you have any questions on this topic, or maybe other topics, maybe you're ready to buy a car and you have no idea how to go about it, visit our wellness portal. You can go up to the QR code with your phones. It's free and you don't have to be a member, but there is a great abundance of resources for you on any finance topics. I'm one person, and I'm sure you guys would get tired hearing me for hours on all the topics of finance. So if there's ever anything that you want to learn about that we didn't cover, you're more than welcome to check out those resources. There's videos, there's webcasts, there's quick little 1-minute videos, there's podcasts, which sometimes my coworker Manny and I guest star, and it's a lot of fun. There's a learning lab that you can customize and work at your own pace. I'm not trying to give you guys homework. I know finals are around the corner, but you can throw on a podcast while you're typing away your essays and learn some finance and valuable information, right? We also offer public webcasts. So we have different topics throughout the month. You're more than welcome to join in on those as well. So I'll go ahead now and open it up for any questions. If you guys have any questions on this topic, scams, anything you've encountered, or our amazing Financial Wellness Center, we'll go ahead and take a few minutes to go over that. I want to thank you guys for participating. Your examples were fantastic.
Thank you, Carla. I appreciate you giving the information to our students on campus. And you former Bulldog, that's fantastic. Thank you. I just want to let everyone know that on the Fresno State, the Money Management Center at Fresno State on campus, we have actually a online money management portal for students to access 24/7. And it also has information and tools, resources online, similar to Golden One's financial wellness website. We also have videos on a variety of topics, you know, credit cards, credit scores, debt management, investing, everything. So it's really good to, you know, take a look at. I put it in the chat feature. You just go to www.fresnostate.edu/money center and click on the Unleashed Money portal, and that's there as well. And then before we end today, if anyone has any questions, please put it in the chat and we can answer it before we're done today. Just want to let everyone know that I'll be following up with those who attended in an email, sending you a link to give feedback to Carla and Golden One about, you know, the topic as well as the presentation and the information given. So if you'd fill that out, that'd be great. And then also in the future, what type of future topics you'd like to hear. And then finally, I'd like to say that, again, Carla's going to be coming back in November. on Thursday, November 19th. So you're the first one to hear about this, everybody listening today. She'll be presenting on holiday shopping and spending patterns and things. So that'll be a fun topic as well in the future. So please come back for that and look out for the social media posts and the emails that we send out announcing that information. Everyone's saying thank you. You provided your information, Carla, as far as your email on how to get a hold of you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure. We love sharing all of this information to, help you guys out. We hope you can join us for our holiday shopping next month. It's going to be a good one, give you tips and tricks on busting your budget, saving for next year. And if you have any comments, concerns, questions, violent reactions, I'm just kidding. You're more than welcome to email me. There is my email. Thank you again so much for having me. It was so much fun. And thank you all for being so engaging and participating. It was a blast.
Right. And then before you go, did you want to mention that scholarship application? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Adrian. So I want to also talk about our scholarships. So they are going to be opening mid-November. I will be sending Adrian a PDF information flyer on our scholarship, but I want to encourage everyone to check those out. I know that, as a college student, I just graduated, any little bit of money helps. And there's so many scholarship opportunities that sometimes as students we're not aware of, or we don't apply because we don't think we're going to get it. So once I have that information, I'll send it over to Adrian because I really want to encourage you to share that if you know anyone who might want to apply as well. It's a great opportunity for any student. They give quite a bit of money. Requirements for it are usually so simple. So once I get that PDF flyer, I will be sending it over to Adrian to share with you all, and hopefully you can check that out and get some extra money, because who doesn't need extra money, right?
Yeah, thank you. All right, everyone. Any last minute questions in the chat prior to finishing today's presentation? If not, looks like we're okay. I think everyone's good. Well, thank you again, Carla. Thank you again for all the students attending, and Golden One Credit Union for the great information today. Thank you. Bye-bye.